What's up? What's happening?
Dropping it in low key.
Mm-hmm.
Low key. It's this one has the two theme songs, just a little bit spookier.
Spooky. Hey, happy Halloween!
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Who's gonna go get some Reese's from the neighbors, huh?
Ooh.
What's your favorite Halloween monster, Sam?
Halloween monster? Like, is that a specific like sect? So
Yeah,
I
you
can't
know.
get into like all the. So it's got to be like. You know, because if I have to say that, I can't because it's torn between, it's like a 6-way tie. It's the Addams Family too.
Oh, jeez. How could I have... Why did I even ask?
Duh.
This is ridiculous.
I thought you knew me.
I did.
My entire personality is defined by the Addams Family too.
That's true. That's true. And what a Halloween watch that movie is.
Now,
Now,
spooky family fun for everyone.
every single one.
Yeah.
Now, it's a great movie. It's...
Yeah.
Perhaps number one on the top 250. Shawshank, get out of there.
Get out of there, Kevin Love Shawshank. Get out of there, Kevin Love Godfather. Get out of there, Kevin Love Part 2.
That's right.
And
But
Dark Knight.
today is not as much as I want it to be about the Addams Family too.
Well,
I mean,
it
is, 'cause it's Halloween,
I would
but-
say that without the Addams Family 2, there would be no What We Do in the Shadows.
that's very true.
Because it is a spooky family that has fun.
That's right. That's right. Now, I would argue that the Addams Family 2 is responsible for cinema itself.
Yeah.
Now, we'll get into that. But first and foremost, I want to make a quick announcement, ladies and gentlemen. And I know it's about What We Do in the Shadows and lots of Addams Family 2 here, but also big news about Spider-Man No Way Home.
Big news!
Okay, so if you don't want any spoilers, skip to the end of the music. We get it. We understand when a movie's about to come out. We don't want to ruin it. But I'm going to give you a second.
I'll even replay this track as long as we talk about it, and
Yeah.
then everyone can just go like 30 seconds. Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
it's still going, but who cares?
So, yeah, he didn't talk about What We Do in the Shadows. They didn't bring it up once.
Yeah, it's
they
the
just
whole
talked about a
episode.
movie that hasn't come out yet. That is one trailer. But we're going to. And so, well, let's just get into it. 3, 2, 1. We're talking about spoilers. It's confirmed. It's confirmed.
Confirmed.
Of course.
Confizzled.
Of course, we have Dr. Octavius.
Yep.
Doc Ock, right? Coming in. Hello, Peter. That kind of thing,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Of course.
We got Willie Deffs.
We got Willie Deffs as the Green Goblin. You know, goblins. Happy Halloween, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We got Jay Fox as Electro coming back to light his birthday candles.
Yeah.
Okay? He's back on not his birthday.
Yeah.
And it is confirmed. As many speculated after the first trailer, Thomas Hayden Church Sandman, he's back. Rhys Ifans as my favorite character, not my favorite interpretation of the character, but still okay. Excited to see him as Dr. Connors, a.k.a. the Lizard. The Liz is back, baby. And I am stoked. I couldn't be happier to see the Lizard once
Yeah.
again, but in a good movie.
Well, when you sent me this ground-shattering news,
Massive news.
which I mean, it means we're probably like days away from a trailer that's going to spoil this all, anyways.
Exactly.
I gotta say that for me personally, and I'm probably gonna have to replay this track again.
Probably, yeah.
but for
We're just
me
getting
personally,
started.
I think that's damn cool because that means that they're pulling a villain from one of each of the previous Sony movies, and then that makes me wonder who's gonna be big bad number 6.
That's right, because we've got Ock, Goblin, Electro, Lizard, Sandman. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
One
And
more, and we
then-
got ourselves a Sinister Six.
Yeah, we're one away, and then
We have options. We got Vulture.
you know, again,
We've got
spoilers
Mysterio.
for Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Venom is now in this Marvel universe.
He is.
It's true. But then you're just starting to wonder. You're starting to wonder here. Who could be the last one? Because, I mean, Mysterio was part of the Sinister Six. Vulture was part of the Sinister
They're
Six.
founders. You
You
know?
know? Vulture is still confirmed alive. Mysterio?
Well, he's-
mysterious.
That's exactly what I was going to say. We are one of the
To
same
be
mind.
determined.
TBD.
So we're trying to figure out who number 6 of the Sinister Six is going to be. But the fact that we're going to get a Sinister Six means a lot. But do you think that we're going to get a Super 3?
Well, so I found an article from Kevin Feige where he made it very clear for fans to temper their expectations for this thing, okay? And if they've already confirmed all these villains and he's still saying, like, guys,
Temper your expectations.
Temper the expectations. Is this a response to WandaVision with all the multiverse Mephisto talk?
Yeah.
Is this? I don't know.
But what I've heard from John Watts, director, is that this movie is at a level that it might as well be called Spider-Man Endgame.
That's right. So he very well may be throwing the scent, right? This is a studio that's not afraid to film 5 endings just
Kevin
to confuse
Feige
us.
has lied to us more than anybody else in my life, and I love him for it. Actually,
right.
I
That's
actually appreciate him. You know?
It makes it better, right? So I'm going to go into it believing that they're not in it and shocked if they show up.
Yeah.
You know, I that is the experience I'd rather have because these villains are aplenty for me.
Yeah.
I am stoked about this.
I mean, to be fully honest, would have been cooler to have a complete go in blind like Wes, not even watch the trailers.
Yes, it's true.
But
we can't.
We can't.
We
We're
can't do
addicts.
it. Yeah, we.
You know, whatever taste we can get, we're gonna get.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. So and
Sucking dick in alleys for this Marvel information.
So we've got 5 villains confirmed. We might have a Venom popping in, and it's just giving me this idea. Like you said, there's a villain from each movie. There's these rumors that Doctor Strange is acting weird and stuff like that.
Well, I already said that in the first trailer where he's on the train spinning around the cars, it looks like it's Doctor Strange.
It's very sinister, right? So what if we're actually dealing with Mephisto and he goes to he like somehow has a problem with Peter, right? And he goes to each of these.
He's got a Peter problem?
Yeah, Peter problem.
What?
Peter Parker Spider problem. What if he goes to each of these realities and like makes a deal with each one of these guys, right? And that's how they all come together and become part of this. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, because
here.
he would have to be pulling these people out of their timelines before they died because Toby left none of them alive.
No, Toby was a slaughter.
Toby buried all of his heroes.
He killed them all.
And, Andrew only buried one of them.
Yeah, and it was Electro, I believe. He died at the end of it, right?
I'm pretty sure because Lizard didn't die. He got cured.
Yeah, he went to jail. Dane DeHaan, who knows?
Peter Parker.
He's not in it.
I swear to God, if he turns out to be the Green Goblin, Jack,
What if the-
walking out of the theater and then walking back in because I'm like, well, I can't not see the rest of this movie.
What if number 6 is a rhino?
Dude, I'd creep. Because he's the one who got robbed in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
That is true.
As far as literally, it's in the fucking trailer, 100% of the Rhino fight. Cut away to the credits.
And there is no rhino fight, it turns out. Yeah, there's just the charging and the end.
Yeah.
And then
that's 100% the charge and then the whipping of the manhole cover and then cut to black.
That's right.
Fuck you.
It's the end. Yeah. No, we can't have it. We got to atone for it. And boy, do I think they're doing this the right way. I'm excited.
If they do
Knock
it-
on a little wood just to make sure nothing gets fucked up because
It makes-
Spider-Man 3s have historically not been the best, you know?
Yeah, and that's why I think that they're doubling down on this one.
They're sextupling down on
Yeah.
this one.
They're like, all right, well, the 2 movies that we've done with Spider-Man with 3 villains failed.
Yeah.
Let's do 6.
Let's do 6.
Let's do 6.
Just get it done. You
Let's
know?
do 6 and have Doctor Strange fuckery, you know?
And maybe Daredevil.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe Daredevil be his lawyer, maybe any of this stuff, you
This
know?
is going to get wild, man.
Yeah, you know, I would say that, it's too quiet.
Hey,
Play it off
all
the
right,
computer.
hit it.
Don't pressure me.
Hit it!
Stop it.
3, 2,
Stop.
1. You're fired!
Yep.
You're fired.
It's all very exciting.
Nice. There it was. There it was. It is all extremely exciting. But we gotta wait until December to find that out. Right now, we're coming to the close of October, heading into the beginning of November. So, let's get into it, huh, Bob?
Let's get spooky.
Let's get spooky. Let's
Get spooky. Let's talk about,
with some vampires.
you know, what we do in the shadows.
What do we do in those shadows?
What do we
man?
do in those shadows, man?
Let's find out.
We will find out for sure.
That's right.
So I gotta say, there's only one thing that's left to be said.
Welcome to the dance floor, boys.
All right. Well, now we're back. Thank you for putting up with a little bit of spoiler talk. This is big news, obviously. And if you want to find out, just skip back a couple 15 seconds. You know what I mean? Well,
It was like 5 minutes.
it was about 5 minutes. Hit that 15-second button dozens of times.
Yeah.
Let's get into what really matters here. Spooky Halloween. Sammy B, what's your costume?
Oh, my costume? I didn't wear one.
What?
Ah, fuck.
There
I
he
gotta,
goes.
I gotta wear my Halloween costume.
Please. He's going to run and grab it. Meanwhile, I'll talk about what I got going on here for those that aren't watching the video. I'm a Rasta-rilla, meaning I'm wearing a gorilla suit with Rasta pants. And that's about it. I'm wearing a nice beanie for some, character atmosphere, some shades, trying to get the vibe going. But just a stony baloney gorilla. And right now, old Sammy B is assembling quite an assembly, if you will, which that's what you're hoping for when you're assembling something that the assembly itself is impressive. We have yet to see. But, I'm excited for this Halloween, If I had to pick a favorite Halloween monster, I'd have to go with Wolfman through and through. But when I think about Halloween monsters and cutouts and things like that, I get uncomfortable because I think of awkward Halloween parties in elementary school, which were fun. But I remember always, taking my costumes a little too far, just in the sense of, people would come as, Scream or, when one of our friends was the Burger King. I was none of those things. One year, I had a Dilophosaurus mask from Jurassic Park, and I wore a Dark Wraith hood that my mom made. My mom made some killer Halloween costumes. I was a creepy clown, and I remember I went to the Halloween party in the creepy clown outfit in 7th grade, first year in middle school, and this one girl freaked out when she saw me. She was terrified of me, and it made me rethink the entire vibe I was putting out there for Halloween. One time I was a pumpkin biker with a pirate hook because I just like to go to Halloween stores and buy things. And, I got in trouble for having a very sharp hook at school. The teacher was not a fan of it. My imagination is something, let's just say. Boys, it's so good to see you.
Yes!
There
Let's
he
see how these
is.
headphones work with them.
Yeah. Well, that was what I had to say with the beanie. I was like, is this going to work? And then they're kind of half on, half off. Yeah, just reminiscing about the old elementary school parties.
Who was a Burger King?
Matt Kinney.
I don't recall.
Oh, yeah, big time. It was.
Oh, it was because Sneak King came out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Remember that Xbox 360 game where you're the king just stalking people, trying to determine the people that are hungry, and then you give them a Whopper out of the shadows.
Do you want to get a Whopper from the shadows?
A Whopper out of the shadows is a desired way to get a Whopper, but I don't know. I'd like to mull it over before I get my Whoppers going.
Okay. Well, in the meanwhile, let's head to the other shadows, a.k.a. what we do in the shadows.
Well, let me tell people what my fucking costume
Nope,
is.
it's too late. It's taking too long. Wait, no,
I already got my costume on, man. You twisted my arm. You didn't even ask me before we hit record. Are you going to dress up as anything? I mean, I guess I should have even thought of that ahead of time. I should have thought of that ahead of time.
I sent you a textual warning.
Yeah, but that didn't actually convey it to me that you should get into one too. So, and
I can't stop playing with these gorilla nips, dude. They're just right here.
I wonder if that's how George Clooney and Val Kilmer felt about the bat nipples.
They're just
I would just be fucking with those things all
they're
the
at the
time
craft
between
service
takes.
table,
Yeah.
just like
Just like, who the fuck thought of these? Do you think these look good? Do you think these look good?
apparently Robert Pattinson auditioned for the Batman in the Val Kilmer suit. Yep.
Which I mean, it's not a bad looking suit. It's just literally the nips, man.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. 100%.
It's the nips.
So what are you for Halloween?
Well, see, considering that this is now my 3rd year running with this costume, this is just gonna be my Halloween costume. Like Ron Swanson, people were like in that episode, he's dressed as a pirate. They go, "Weren't you a pirate last year?" He goes, "Yes, this is my Halloween costume." My Halloween costume is, the main mascot, front and center of the DMT every episode, Mr. Thor.
That's right. That's this man right here, in his more casual attire, My favorite costume that I did, though, more recently was Teddy Roosevelt. I think I could have pulled that off this year.
Yeah, you could. You did that pretty well. I mean, you got the mustache going, all that shit. Anytime that I've hobbled together costumes like that, they come out pretty fucked.
Yeah.
Remember when we were hobbling together costumes at Carl's house, and I was Pancho, the abusive Mexican clown.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's when I first got this suit, I remember.
Yeah, that's right. You were the only one that had any kind of cohesion to his suit.
But
Carl wore his ghillie suit.
Yes, Carl.
And then Wes wore a puffy pink hat
with the paintball.
tank top and like red mittens.
and a paintball mask.
And a paintball mask. Oh, no, I'm thinking of a different picture, but the paintball mask was that year. I'm thinking of a different picture of Wes where he looked super cute.
The thing about this gorilla suit is it only came with the top half. So, I had to wear black sweatpants for the legs, and it got way too hot way too quick. And if it's getting hot at the end of October in Colorado, you got to fix something.
Yeah.
Like when I was Gimli,
Yeah, that probably had to be your hottest costume, wasn't it?
It was. The hair. And the thing, I remember I took it off about halfway. We went home and I took it off. It was snowing that night, too. I remember that night very vividly. We went and we did the thing. I think it was just me and Carl that year because it was like second grade. And, went trick-or-treating, did the things, yada, yada. And then the helmet kept falling off. I couldn't go more than 5 steps with it because I was wearing a giant wig with it, right? And that goddamn thing just, right in the snow, right in the snow. So then I went and I changed into basically what Carl was that year, which I think was like a shirtless, marker-tattooed, sword-wielding psychopath, essentially. And we wreaked havoc, and then we went home and we watched The Two Towers.
No doubt.
I remember that night very well.
For sure.
Indeed.
See, I love it, and I'd love to keep talking about it, but this is like DMT type banter.
That's fair.
We need to
but
get
it's
to
Halloween,
the shout-outs.
It's Halloween.
I know. Okay, then I'll tell you about 2 costumes.
Let's hear it.
One costume that I remember I actually did all out because for the first ever of costumes, I was Harry Potter for 5 years running.
Great Harry Potter costume.
So, I mean, this Thor costume is not too much of a departure from my behavior in Halloween's past.
Right. You went from the, excited schoolboy Harry Potter to the lackadaisical post-Infinity War Thor.
Yes.
I love it.
I love it. It's a great evolution. Mm-hmm. But in 4th grade, I was obsessed with Nightmare Before Christmas. And I was Jack Skellington. And I remember going trick-or-treating. And we had to change the felt that was covering the eyes and the mask to a different one that had more holes in it so I could see better. And then I just remember, I could see fine just out of it. And then I could get my head, and I could see through the nose holes pretty well. And I don't know why. I was just like, well, let's just keep walking like this. And I'm walking, looking through the nose holes. Not even 5 steps later, I smashed my face right into a mailbox. Clotheslined by a fucking mailbox.
Did you go down?
Hard.
Oh,
hard. But it wasn't the fall down and cry. It was I'm just like, what the fuck? I felt like inside that mask how Aaron Rodgers felt with his helmet pulled up his face.
Yes. What a weird game that was. But that's for another time.
That's for a DMT. That's for this week's
for
DMT.
Thursday.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
Thursday.
Lots of Cardinals-Packers talk.
Yeah. And then another costume I hobbled together was, I think, freshman year or some shit. And I decided I was going to be the Predator, but a wizard guard thing at the same time, where I had a robe. I had a robe.
Is this when you got the mask?
I had the mask separately, though, because I had a Predator costume that I did in 7th grade that was actually pretty decent, for what I did with it. And then kept the mask. It's still in my my room. And, I could even just go get that and throw that on for this review.
That'd be pretty funny.
Fat Predator.
Just whoever's not talking, we just trade the mask back and forth.
Yeah, why not? Why not, right?
Right.
But no, that one pissed me off because I think we were all hanging out at Carl's and then we got roped into trick-or-treating. And it was for freshmen, dude.
Oh, yes. I remember that one.
And so I was just like, I guess I'll go get my Predator mask and, we'll hobble something together. So I had that, a robe, and my halberd. But that Predator mask got so fucking hot that we ended up making I can't remember the name, but the patriarch of the Krager family.
Yes.
Carry all the shit.
Oh, yeah.
He had to carry everything. My feet hurt. I was hot. I was miserable. I didn't even want to be out trick-or-treating. It was just what the fuck are we doing? This is the last Halloween we do this, guys. This is the last one.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? So Yeah, the costumes for me have not been great.
No,
Ron
no.
Burgundy that year, Ron Burgundy and the
And
Brick.
I was Brick. Yes, that was one of our. That was where I think we really were like, all right, we're going to do this thing together. You know, we're doubling down.
We're doubling down. Same with B Jackie D DMT.
That's right. That's right.
We got the Anchorman going.
Oh, we got to post that picture when this comes out.
Oh no, I'm going to put it out and then also put it superimposed on the video.
Love it.
So that people know what we're talking about. I'm going to put up the picture of us all in our hobbled together Halloween costumes when I was Pancho.
Let me see if I can get you some of these pictures. You know?
do.
I'll send some things. I wonder. I was thinking about even posting some stuff about how I used to decorate the house back. in the day.
Do it.
Dude.
Put it on the DMT cast page.
We used to do it. You know. Mm-hmm.
Do it up.
Yeah. We had people coming from around the city.
Yeah.
To see my house.
Yeah.
Full of stuffed ski jumpsuits and rubber masks from the year before.
Hell yeah.
But
I think 5th grade was when I stopped giving a shit about Halloween costumes too much, because that's when, like this costume, like every other year, I let it run up to the edge, and I never know what I'm gonna be, and it's always too late.
yeah.
You know, and I gotta imagine it's gotta be hard for the Brants because I don't like when it's not accurate to the movie.
Oh, geez.
Like those ones that is just like a unitard with the Captain America pattern on it, but there's no cohesive costume in there.
No.
I hate that. And
Yeah,
I'm never going to be that guy. The only time I've ever bought an instant costume was that 5th grade when I was Scream.
Yes.
You know,
I remember that one.
And so I was one of those people you were talking about
Yeah,
who went to
sure.
Scream, and I hadn't seen a single one of the movies. I
Yes.
didn't know any of the premise. I just knew that I wanted a mask that when you squeeze the thing, blood just goes running down the front. That's all I wanted out of that costume.
Oh, I remember what my best Halloween costume was.
Hellboy.
Duh. Yeah, that
I was
one
waiting for you to
awesome.
bring up Hellboy.
I was just there. I was like, what was I in 3rd grade? Oh, yeah.
It's like interesting.
Hellboy.
I mean, Van Helsing was great. Van Helsing was great.
I don't think I was ever
Gimli.
Van Helsing like for Halloween, though. I got the full.
You were just Van Helsing for yourself.
I think I dressed up on Christmas as Van Helsing one year. Of course, Hugh Jackman, Kate Beckinsale, David Wenham.
Well done,
Love
sir.
you guys.
Yeah, no, I was boring. I was Harry P. Harry P. for 4 years straight.
Hey.
And I switched to Jack Skellington, and then I just gave up. Ron Burgundy was really the last one I gave real effort to.
Yeah, I had to like cool it on
Ron
the
Burgundy
costumes.
and Predator. Predator was 8th grade, so Ron Burgundy 7th grade, Predator 8th grade. That was it.
I had to cool it on the costumes because I was getting progressively like more scary. Like I went from like Hellboy to like Demon Gargoyle to Dilophosaurus, sorcerer to pumpkin biker with a lethal hook to clown that literally probably scared me out of getting a girlfriend in 7th grade.
Jack,
to
you-
scarecrow
okay.
with a scythe, and then everybody else is like
But
doing
both
joke
you and
dress-ups.
Carl got the clown costumes to fuck with me, though.
I'll say this on record right now. I got the
100% Carl did.
I got that clown costume because I was so jealous of Carl's costume the year before. I thought, and I apologize. Because then we leaned into it. We really did.
I just genuinely thought that it's like, oh, this is going to be a thing. Everybody's going to take turns being clowns to fuck with Sam and B.
I don't know if he did or not, but
He 100% did.
we must tell the haunted house story on the Thursday podcast.
Yes.
I just remembered it, but. For me, it was pure jealousy. But my mom made a pretty awesome coat for it, so and I still have that thing.
No doubt, definitely. Oh yeah, I remember the one with all the patches and shit all over it. And then you had the clown shoes, which, I mean, lent itself to one of the best pictures of all time.
It really did.
And clown shoes and boxing gloves. Never thought you'd see that in a picture.
Never thought you'd see it, and yet never forget
Never
it.
gonna see it again. All right, so sorry, audience members, if you were thinking you were turning into DMT Reviews and you got a DMT Don't Miss This Podcast mini-sode, but it's Halloween.
Yeah, come on.
We're celebrating. You got to let us get a little bit of juices. The
special episode,
The spooky juices flow.
You guys know we're getting better at podcasting because we're doing themes. Because we're just riffing and bitten. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you know, I just felt I wish I had this costume on before I hit record.
I think it worked better though.
Oh, so sweet of
Thank
you.
Of course,
Oh.
of course. Now, it's not sweet, but actually turned out to be sweet. The journey of Colin Robinson. Okay.
Colin
I want
Robinson.
to get into Colin Robinson specifically right off the bat. So
We're bringing up season 3 of What We Do in the Shadows.
The Shadows. One of is it my favorite comedy of all time? It's hard to say that. I have a lot of favorites. undeniable. It's another one of those shows.
It's my favorite running currently.
I don't think it misses a beat. You know,
Yeah.
there's not a bad episode to this show. You know, like you were even saying, you were showing your dad it, and like, you know, he wasn't laughing a ton in the first episodes, but it picks up and it gets going.
And that's the thing is he's watching it, and it took me a while because, you know, when you're showing somebody something, you're getting self-conscious. You're watching them watch it to see their reactions. I don't know if this lock of hair goes over here or over here. I think it'll go over there.
I wonder that with my own
Keeps
hair.
fucking fall. Yeah, that's the downfall of having long hair.
Yeah.
That's what me baldy boy Butler over here gets to avoid.
BBB.
Yep. Yeah, I got my bald Butler boy brand.
I was about to say, you're bringing it to LeVar. You know, he could get in on it. He's bald.
You
He's a
know?
baldman.
It was rebranded that way.
That's right.
But, you know, I started to realize that he's watching this show, and he might not be laughing out loud all the time, but he thinks it's fucking hilarious in the same sense that he watches Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's never really laughing watching it, but he gets out of every episode like, that was the funniest fucking thing.
Right. Because
Like,
it's almost...
you know what episode we watched last night?
The Dream Team, baby. The Dream Team, baby. I became an American citizen in 1992 for 5 reasons and 5 reasons alone. Johnson, Jordan, Bird, Barkley, Ewing. The 1992 American Olympic basketball team. Dream Team, baby.
They were so dominant that year that I couldn't help myself but pledge my undying loyalty
And that's
to their country.
This show is so funny because, like, for example, The Office, right? Such quick, like, lines and funny, you know, character moments and all that stuff. This show, like, takes that to the next level because it's vampires, right?
Yeah.
So it could so easily not be funny or, like, over the top, but they're so true to these 5 characters that they've established. And they just build and build and build. They're never afraid to continue to build new things for these characters. You know?
I mean, and I'd say that is what I think Jermaine Clement clung on to so well from the movie.
Jermaine Clement and
that
Taika Waititi made the movie.
Yeah, because, I mean, telling my story about the movie, have you seen it yet?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
good.
yeah.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I bought it and showed it to you guys.
I do officially like the show more.
Yes.
And I love the movie.
Yes,
so
that's where I'm at as well. And I think they don't care. They're happy.
No, I think that's
They're
what they
happy
wanted
about
it to
that.
be, yeah.
Because, you know, in the movie, they don't have a lot of, you know, more big story arcs to deal with, more nuance and broad things to deal with, especially in vampire culture and all that shit. It was just a fun little indie movie that they're like, let's shoot it mockumentary style about vampires. It's funny. And I loved it. Didn't think I would because when I saw it, it was in film school for the film critiquing class. And, you know, when they selected that movie, I'm like, I've never heard of it. This is going to be some pretentious film school bullshit. Right. And it couldn't have been more surprised and more delighted. And when you told me that this show existed, I was like, they made that a show?
Right. And
what?
I would say to your reaction of that, I feel like vampires and zombies suffer from the same barrier, right? Which is that they've been so popularized and done in so many ways, but in ways that are like the Twilight, which, like, you know, whatever you want to think of Twilight, but like Twilight romanticized vampires in a way that, like, you got away from the Draculas and the, like, blood sucking, you know, super violent creatures, right? And you got more into, like, this romance that's still, and I've never seen a Twilight, so I can't really speak to it. But
suck, dude.
And it's kind of like Walking Dead had some effect on zombies where they were like the coolest thing forever, and then everybody very quickly was like, okay. But the thing is,
And that's
this
about
is
the time that the movie came out.
Right.
So when
And
I
this
saw
is-
that, I was like, nah, all right.
if you do a good vampire or zombie thing, it's transcendent.
Yeah.
It works. You know what I mean? But
Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead. I mean, one of the best. Right behind Addams Family too.
mean,
if you want a spooky Halloween, okay, watch Army of the Dead. Or what is it? Army of the Dead?
Army of the Dead?
Army of the Dead, and then Addams Family too.
Addams Family, too.
Of course.
Double feature that shit.
Don't watch the first one.
No.
No.
No, I adamantly steer people away from the first Addams
It's a
Family
waste
movie.
of
It's
time.
a waste of time. They're not even on vacation.
They can't handle
Get
it.
the fuck out of here.
You just need the second one.
Come on.
Anyway, what we do in the shadows, season 3 in particular, what I loved about this season, because the first season's very much get to know the characters,
establish the world,
have fun with the
dynamics,
reality.
yeah.
Werewolves are like this, they're
like a gang.
They're a gang and they're like dogs.
Yeah.
They throw a chew toy off the roof and the
he
werewolf
jumps
jumps
off.
after it. And
Guillermo's walking away. He's like, hey, is it cool if we find that chew toy, we could keep it? He's like, yeah, I don't care. He's like, okay, everybody, spread out. If you step on something, it's like if you hear a squeak, you might have stepped on it. Like they're so concerned about the chew toy,
right?
But then I'm like, see, those little moments are what I think mockumentaries really lend themselves to a lot. And then you throw that supernatural element, especially from a gothic horror era with werewolves and vampires.
Yes, I mean,
it adds to another level.
We meet the Baron, who in the pilot is painted as like this all-powerful, super vampire type thing.
Doug Jones,
one of the best.
Abe
Sapien. But then in episode 6, they ended up getting him drunk on drug blood, and he ends up having one of the funniest comedic falls down the stairs I've ever seen.
One of the funniest puke bits I've ever seen.
And then burns up in the sun.
Yeah.
Like
just bursts into flames.
And this show, like that first season, did stuff like that all the time. The 1992 Dream Team kind of stuff. Just like really funny, interesting.
I'll say for that Baron episode,
unexpected type of things.
My dad, I could tell my dad was starting to pull back a little bit with the drug blood stuff. And then, like, him falling down the stairs all the way, and then just immediately bursting into flames, that pulled it back around.
The door, Guillermo just walks in, and the sun just...
Oh, fuck.
And then season 2, we learn that Guillermo
is a vampire hunter.
He's
a
a
Van
descendant
Helsing.
of Van Helsing. We learn... So we get to develop that, and Guillermo
the Vampire
really...
Council thinks that the vampires killed the Baron.
That's right.
And it's because they escaped in the first season. And so Guillermo's been diligently killing vampires left and right.
Yes. We meet Craig Robinson, who's a vampire hunter for a moment. And we have all these, we have Jackie Daytona, right? Great standalone episode for Laszlo. We have Colin Robinson becoming the boss. We have these these episodes, we have the ghosts and the little Nadja, We learn a bit more about the characters, right? As far as like, okay, we know who they are, right? We have Nandor, where's he from? What's his,
Alcaladar.
He's like basically the Dracula kind of, old medieval kind of vampire,
He's Nandor the Relentless, and then, he's kind of he's like the Vlad the Impaler, but like you got Jermaine Clemens vampire is Vladislav the Poker.
Yes. And like the beauty of Nandor is that, yeah, sure, he comes off like a Vlad the Impaler when you first see him.
And he couldn't be more softy.
He's like a naive child in so many ways, and it's so funny, his nuances and the performances that who plays him, I'll find his name, but the nuances that these characters give. We have Nadja, who is, I believe, Greek, yes?
Yeah, she's from a Mediterranean island.
And
British Laszlo.
How do you describe Nadja? Just like the most, I don't want to say she has like emotional outbursts necessarily, because that doesn't define her character, but
she's the most like, I honestly think she's the most selfish.
Yeah, for sure.
Of the entire house, because
selfish for her own gain. Yeah.
But it's like she lets herself get consumed by her emotions more often than not. And then instead of even reflecting on it or anything, she inflicts it on everybody else.
Quadruples down.
Yeah, quadruples down, reflects it on everybody else. So it's like, the number of times that she'll start asking Guillermo a question while he's doing something else, and then she'll interrupt, like, this is why we can never get anything done. Yep, this not. Like, he can't even get a word in edgewise because she's already just, like, wound up. She's always getting herself wound up.
Pablo Picasso? More like Pablo Picasso. And so, we've got Kay Van Novak playing Nandor. Like I said, fucking gay.
Fucking gay.
Beautiful. We have Natasha Natasha Demetrio playing Nadja. We have Matt Berry playing Laszlo.
Which I'll say, because of this show, I watched a show that Jason Mitsoukas recommended. It's on Netflix called Toast of London, starring Matt Berry. And I only watched the first 2 episodes. I got to get back into it because it was fucking hilarious. But it was such a unique,
I watched an episode or two.
Such a unique presentation where it's like a stage, but very much a sound set, but very weird, but cool, fucking hilarious.
So
and I'm
funny.
like, so he's been doing that over there this whole time. This is his really first foray into American audiences, and he's just like sitting there comfortable the whole time.
Perfect.
Like he's the one I think that knew Laszlo day one.
Yes. And Laszlo really is. I mean, he's a simple character. He's a sex addict that literally became immortal for 2 reasons and 2 reasons only. What was the first one?
I wanted to fuck. I wanted to suck blood and fuck forever. And I didn't join to become a soulless bureaucrat. I joined to suck blood and fuck forever. And I'm like, but it wasn't even his choice. Nadja took his life. They say that she took his life several times throughout the series.
And I just love in the first episode of season 3, maybe one of my new favorite lines of his is silence and hark.
And hark!
All he does.
I love that at the beginning of that episode because like they're in their room and Colin Robinson keeps chiming in and then they tell him to shut up. He's like, well, maybe I'll just shut the fuck up, you know? Like, this season you see Colin get actually legitimately angry about shit, and I find that so funny that these vampires who he's been draining for so long are that insufferable that they can get him to reach that point himself.
And that's a perfect segue to Mark Proshk, who plays Colin Robinson. The 3 we mentioned.
Wasn't he originally on The Office?
He's
Nate.
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 I love his introduction where Dwight goes to like a bunch of it looks like illegal immigrants standing, and it's kind of like where he drives up and like, anybody want work, and they hop in the car, and Nate walks up and
he starts speaking Spanish,
Spanish, but then he's like, oh yeah, no, I speak it. Like, it's just like such a and then he goes, Dwight picks him up.
Doesn't Dwight just go habla inglés? And he's like, oh yeah, no, I speak English.
And then I think he like tries to speak very broken Spanish back to him, and then they take him and everybody's looking, and so his first test is to take down a beehive, and he has like
choose your weapon,
a bat, a bow and arrow, what else is there? Oh man, he's got like all these different things assorted.
Wasn't there fire was one?
I think
of
there
them?
was
Like
there was some sort of fire, and so this guy can bring the comedic heat. And the first 3 that we mentioned are vampires, as we know them: fangs, drink blood, yada yada. Colin Robinson is not that.
He's an energy vampire.
Yes, meaning that he doesn't drain blood; he drains your energy.
Yeah, and that's the great. That was my favorite thing that they added to this show in episode 1. Got me fucking dying. Was because you know that guy.
Oh yeah.
You know that guy. You've seen those people. They're daywalkers.
They're in every single office.
Every single workplace. There's gonna be somebody who just drawls and drawls. Like, I love what Laszlo said at his birthday party, where he's just like, when I first met Colin Robinson, I just asked myself, how can one man be so fucking dull? And Colin's just like, thank you. Sincerely. How can one man be so fucking dull?
And then, of course, as aforementioned, we have Harvey Guillen? That one?
Guillen. It's a Latin name, Jack. He's a Hispanic character.
I can't say it I literally can't. Guillen. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Harvey Guillen.
You took so much more Spanish than me.
Sure did.
What the fuck is this?
Habla el inglés? Oh, no, I speak English. Anyway,
I speak English.
And he is their familiar, obsessed with becoming a vampire like them. They will not do it for him. They shit on him all the time. And as we mentioned, he's a descendant of the Van Helsings. Yeah. And at the end of season 2...
And he wants to be a vampire after seeing Antonio Banderas in an interview with a vampire. And he said, if he can do it, then I can do it.
Exactly.
It's like Antonio Banderas.
And so at the end of season 2, they are the vampires are brought to some sort of event, and they're tricked and trapped, and they're going to be held accountable, I think, for killing the Baron, right?
Yes.
And then Guillermo runs in and kills all the vampires in that theater, slaughters them all, saves their life.
Guillermo, is there something you want to tell me?
That dynamic. So we jump into season 3. And so, season 1, who are these characters? Seasons 2, why are these characters? Season 3,
where are the characters going?
Exactly.
Boom.
Exactly. And
Storytelling, bitch.
we're going down some crazy paths, man. We're going down some wild stuff. I mean, this season we have anything from what's episode 1? What's kind of the crux?
It's Guillermo in the cell.
Guillermo's in the cell. Oh yeah, and then he gets out, and they become the new heads of the High Council of the Vampire Council because, as Taika Waititi says, they killed so many vampires in the tri-state area. It was really impressive, and they deserve to be leaders. Even though Guillermo killed them all.
When somebody kills 30, 40 vampires, that's something to respect. And like those videotape bits with Taika Waititi throughout this season's got me killed, especially in this last episode. It fucking killed me because he's talking to somebody off camera. He's just like, no, so you make sure this isn't the tape that has last night's RuPaul Drag Race on it, right? He goes, no, that's a totally clean tape. And then
when because I haven't seen it yet.
Because I haven't seen it yet. And then right as the tape ends, you see RuPaul flash on for a second. It's like that vampire totally lied. So in the other part in New Zealand, in this world, there is Taika Waititi upset because he didn't get to watch RuPaul's Drag Race.
Probably killing people.
Yeah.
It's just so funny. I mean, so some of the arcs through this season, right? We have Nandor trying to find love. That's a big one. We have Guillermo. My theory is that he wants to fuck Nandor. I'm pretty sure. When
you threw that out at the beginning of this season, I got behind 4 episodes, and I ripped through them all, and I was talking to you about how I am thinking about it, and I'm like, where's it gonna go? What's it gonna do to come to a head with those two? And you're just like, you don't think they're gonna end up together? And I'm like,
I think that's where they're going.
Well, that's and they,
or at least Guillermo's trying to do that. I don't know if Nandor will do it, but
it was completely went right over my fucking head because I, much like the vampires, really didn't think much of Guillermo. I thought he's a great character and everything,
but
I did not ever think of him as a sexual being who had any romantic desires. So I never even thought to contemplate what his sexual orientation was, which, I mean, goes all to the better credit of how good of a character he was.
Right.
But the actor is also gay, so when you pointed that out, I was like,
So here's the hints that is making me believe this. So in episode 2, Nandor is in love with the front desk girl at his gym. So they find this cloak of, it basically allows them to become cloak of changing. And what's really cool in that episode is that Caven Novak does a Mark Prosh impression, a Matt Berry impression, as them being him to this girl, and every time they fuck it up royal, like when Laszlo and Colin Robinson do it, and they have to snap and make her forget that anything ever happened, yada yada, and then Guillermo goes to do it, and basically, what does he say? He gets what I loved about it was Colin Robinson runs in. He tries to neg her.
He tries to neg her.
It's a disaster. Laszlo.
And he doesn't have those mind control abilities. So at least freaking Laszlo was able to hypnotize her before he got thrown out. I love that guy. He throws him out. And he goes, get the fuck out of here. He goes, fuck you, swear at me. The swearing offended him, not getting tossed out on his ass.
Laszlo's my
And then
dude,
also
man.
completely unfazed the manager who tossed him out that he's a different guy because he fell out of the cloak.
And they fell, yeah, exactly. So they go in, they both fuck it up royally, and then Guillermo goes in, and they're just getting smoothies the next moment, which I think was for editing, but I also think worked to be really funny. That
and he just understands how to talk to people.
A human being,
Yeah.
exactly. So he's
General.
there and getting smoothies with her, and basically he alludes to I work with a guy who I have feelings for, but it's not like that. And she's like, oh, you should. So I was like, Okay, so Guillermo definitely has feelings for Nandor, right?
And I think that was the moment he realized it.
Right. And then I think in the casino episode, I think they're like
episode 3 was the one with Gale, right?
Yes. Yeah. Where the werewolves
With the
came back.
werewolves.
But I think they're at the casino and they were talking to him. And his kind of like more like arc of the season is he's going from familiar to bodyguard, right? And he's protecting them and yada yada.
Yeah.
So he's getting a higher
put
status.
It to the vote, you
Right.
know, all that.
And, Laszlo and Nadja still shit on him all the time. But Nandor, little rascal. He's just a little rascal.
little rascal.
Like, you can tell.
Get out of the vents, you little rascal.
Like, arguably nobody was meaner to him than Nandor for the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And now he's, like, kind of starting to change. So I was like, that's interesting.
That's the thing, was in season 1, Nandor couldn't even bring himself to let him die on their behalf, because he did straight up admit that he was the one who killed the Baron, and everyone's like, I doubt that.
Right. And
then Nandor goes, no, we killed him. He's like, yeah, that's what we just said. That's what we thought. It wasn't this guy.
And then there was another. So I think it was the casino episode, because they're sitting there, they're talking to him, and like Nandor's trying to be like, he's a bodyguard now. We have to respect him, And so Nadja and Laszlo like begrudgingly are like,
they start the
so
conversation
what's going on in your life? And then he starts to go,
that's right.
Well,
that
I
was
guess
the other
I didn't know
moment.
until I was 10 or 11. And then they just completely interrupt him and roll over it. And it's never really a thing again.
Yeah.
And then where we leave them is that Nandor is going to travel the world because he's having all these existential crises. And we'll get into the Big Bang Theory here in a second. But he's going to bring Guillermo with him. Guillermo could not be more excited, ready to go. And then right when he's going to go meet him at the train, Laszlo tricks him and locks him in a coffin.
Yeah.
We'll give some more context here in a second.
But, when he was packing
Ships
up,
him to England.
he goes, yeah, so Nadja and Laszlo, they're going to go to England, and then me, I'm going to be traveling the world with my master, It's
starting to really come to fruition, right?
Yeah.
Which makes sense, right? And it'll be fun to see how they do this. You know what I mean? To see how they pull this off.
Well, because now the dynamics shift, because that's what I loved about this season in particular. So right away they get appointed to be the Vampiric Council heads, and then without even a fraction of a second of hesitation, Laszlo's like, no fucking way.
Yeah, he's not about it.
He's just, no, I'm not going to do that, because he joined not to be a bureaucrat, because he wanted to fuck forever and suck blood.
That's right.
And so that means that those two have to be paired off a lot. And then you get Laszlo he's just an odd man out, but he's not going to go hang out with Gizmo.
No, not a chance.
He does not give him any kind of inkling of giving a fuck about Gizmo.
Which leads to maybe my favorite arc of the whole season.
Is his and Colin Robinson's team ups.
It's they're legitimate friendships.
Yes.
They are
they developed a
best friends
very
now.
legitimate friendship.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Because it couldn't be two more different characters, right?
Yeah.
Like you would think the last person that would
two
ever...
characters who couldn't be like more like on the perimeter of each other,
of the
like
spectrum,
and ambivalent is the best way to describe their nature of their relationship.
Right. And I mean, it starts with them in the big library, and Laszlo's looking through all the pornography of all the history and all that good stuff, of all history. And Colin Robinson is obsessed with learning more about his heritage as an energy vampire. He doesn't know any other energy vampires. We do meet one, which is a young energy vampire, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
A stoner who is an expert on indica sativas, legalization laws.
Bores people with all the intricacies of weed, and it's like, you've met that stoner.
Yes, you have. Who literally has no other personality.
The second somebody says terpenes, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm taking my weed to go.
I'm a rosterilla here, okay? I love me a good toke, but can't have any of that nonsense. Can't have it. So, I mean, it's just beautiful. And what I loved about that friendship was that it became really sincere. Like, they go and they start to move the car, right? And they completely... They can't get Laszlo's old car out of the back of the library. So they tear it apart,
put it back together outside.
destroy this. And I love this
knocking over
this room that they go to, which is like the room of.
Yeah, tell me what I missed with all the minor details in there.
I don't know. I just remember. So it's like a room of like this collection of all these like notable vampire things. It's mostly
just supernatural artifacts.
There's a taxidermy werewolf, which was cool. There's like so many like crocodile skulls, and there's a giant crocodile hanging on the ceiling. So I love that. The sire
crocodiles have anything to do with? Actually, that makes me wonder, because I remember when they were talking about the Baron coming in, they were like talking about how they wanted black gators to ride around on. And then it flashed up a picture of these people like standing on alligators, holding their tails and riding them around like they were vehicles. I don't know. Or maybe just they love alligators. In which case that speaks to you more than anything.
I would love to see Laszlo riding on the back of a gator. That would be pretty great.
Go forth!
Go forth! Go forth, beast! What else is there? There's the cloak. The sire's being held there. There's like, I think, a T-Rex skull hanging there. But as Colin Robinson and Laszlo reassemble this car, they carry the pieces through this room and destroy it.
Knock everything over.
They break everything, rip it apart. They just don't even, they don't like turn around to do it. They just are like, oops.
And I think that is what more so I think speaks to these vampires as a whole, is because on Staten Island, they're pretty far removed.
Oh, yeah.
Because I found that really funny going through watching it with my dad, is the stuff contemporary throughout time that stuck, and then how much they're still themselves from hundreds of years ago.
Exactly.
So it's like the Dream Team might sink through to Nandor, and then then after that he just goes, "What happened in 1992? Why didn't you finish?" He goes, "Oh, I think the Macarena was sweeping the nation at the time, so I got pretty busy with that." He remembers the Macarena
Sweeping the nation.
But they always go revert back to their selves when they turned, and they never really grew, and they never socialized and go out of their bounds to other vampires. They can't even take over all of Ashley Street in their street. And so when they go to the club, all those vampires are dressed in contemporary garb.
AKA Nick Kroll.
Yeah, passing for people, basically, nightlife people.
Yeah.
And so to that end, when Kristen Schaal starts flipping out on them when they rebuilt the car outside for destroying all that shit.
Which also, shout out to Kristen Schaal. What a hell of a guest appearance throughout that.
Right?
Yeah, she was hilarious.
She's grown.
I got to go talk about to the electric bill about some discrepancies.
Yeah, but she's yelling at him about all those artifacts. Because they're so removed from vampire culture, they're just kind of like, I don't give a fuck.
Yes,
this does really mean nothing to me. I am a vampire. It's I'm not black, I'm OJ.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. And then, of course, the punchline to that car joke is that there's something as simple as a button there.
And that was driving me nuts when I was watching that episode, because I caught it in the background. You can see it. You can see it over Colin Robinson's shoulder as they're bickering about how to get the car out, and Laszlo's explaining what happened to the car. And they impounded my car because I was transporting minors across state lines, literal miners, like
people
workers.
that go into the ground and
workers.
mine ore. Yeah, it's just such a dumb joke.
It's such a dumb joke, but it was worth it.
It was so great.
But as he's telling Colin Robinson over his shoulder, it's out of focus, but by that curtain is the button.
Yep.
And so when she presses it, I was like, I wasn't crazy. I saw the button. It was there the whole time. It wasn't something that they thought about set decorating later as like, nobody's going to notice. They were like, this button has to be in frame.
Yeah.
Like,
well, talking about the mockumentary format, right?
Yeah.
Like you believing. So, who's the guy from Blade that shows up in the last?
Donald Logue.
Donald Logue coming back.
And that joke it hit me so fucking hard where he's talking about painting.
Yes.
And he goes, yeah, this is a painting that I did. It was a photograph of the cast of Grounded for Life. And I laughed so fucking hard because I'm like, my family watched that show.
Yep.
When it was on. Like, that was our Malcolm in the Middle before it got canceled.
Like, you kind of, I mean, you don't believe it's a documentary, but you'd buy in. Like,
Yeah.
you really are like, okay, I'm with this world.
And then you got, the only person who's famous that's playing somebody else is Batista. You know? And he's playing the guy serving that sentence because Laszlo turned a baby into a vampire and left it in the Bronx.
Wesley Snipes is in this universe and is a vampire
he
after
is,
playing
He is
Blade.
a daywalker,
Yeah.
half vampire, exactly like Blade.
And he's on the Vampiric Council.
And then Tilda Swinton,
Yep.
Evan Rachel Wood,
Yeah.
Paul Rubens, fucking Pee-wee.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Pee-wee Herman's a vampire for some reason. Danny Trejo for,
yes.
of course, Dusk Till Dawn. But Evan Rachel Wood, I don't know if she has been a vampire in anything.
I don't know. Was she Evan Rachel Wood in it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They
okay.
called her Evan. They called her Tilda. They call him Danny. They call him Wesley. They're all playing themselves. The only person who's famous that doesn't play themselves is Batista.
Yeah. And
So-
Taika.
Well, no, Taika's not playing himself. Yeah, you're right. And Jermaine, you know.
But yeah, those are easy ones. It's so smart. I mean, and then you get into like so this again, another reason the show is brilliant. Episode 4, they go for it's a wedding,
Yeah,
right?
it's the neighbor Sean's wedding, played
neighbor's
by Anthony Antamanik, better
Yes.
known as Donald Trump on Comedy Central.
Mm-hmm.
I think him and Shane Gillis do the two best Donald Trump impressions.
I would think so, yeah, for sure. And so they go to this casino in Atlantic City. You know, it's a big buildup like they're going to go to Vegas. They're going to Atlantic City, right? And
Viva Atlantic City!
Viva Atlantic City! And then, of course, Nadja's journey in this is becoming basically the head of the Vampiric Council. She's struggling with Nandor because they're both co-leaders, but it's really Nadja's journey to get to the top. Nandor's distracted trying to get laid, you know? So they go to Atlantic City, they do the things, and Nandor gets obsessed with the Big Bang Theory slot machine game.
Slot machine game.
And he's obsessed with it, gets into it. His obsession with the game leads to Colin Robinson teaching him about the Big Bang Theory while he's like super drained and exhausted because they can't sleep.
Yeah, they can't sleep because the ancestral dirt got vacuumed up. So they had to send Guillermo.
Colin Robinson was watching the TV intro to the casino on repeat. It's one of my new favorite programs. I've been binging it a lot lately. And it's just the same 30-second thing.
And he starts singing along to it and everything. And then
He really likes it.
Then they're all like laid out in the bedroom, like unable to move because they're so drained. And he's just like, yeah, they won't let me even turn up the volume on my favorite show.
And he's sitting upright on the end of the bed.
On the edge of the bed.
And he's been doing it for hours.
Well, that's what he does in his room by himself. Like, remember when he gets Nandor's room, he just he farts all over the place. And then he just goes and he sits staring at the wall because he is that boring.
Yeah, so it's
but I love the evolution of that story. It starts with the Big Bang theory. Bazinga!
Bazinga!
It is the battle cry of their tall leader, Sheldon. And then he takes him to the room where they're watching Big Bang Theory, him and Colin Robinson. He goes, he's very faithful to the game. He was very faithful to the game.
And then so Colin Robinson's like, oh no.
Why is it called the Big Bang Theory?
And that leads Colin Robinson to teach him about the Big Bang Theory, the literal one. Yeah. And we learn Nandor's beliefs, which why don't you share a little bit of what Nandor actually believes?
I told you what he believes because I laughed so fucking hard. Because I consider myself a journeyman of knowing a lot of nerd shit, but only surface level stuff. I can have full-on conversations with people about American Horror Story without having seen one episode, you know? And I can do the same with a lot of things, and that includes Stephen King stuff. And I got really interested in it after It Part 1 turned out to not freak me out so bad, and I'm like, well, I just want to learn a little bit more, especially because The Dark Tower was about to come out and suck.
Right.
So I wanted to know, because there's this connected universe. I remember seeing somewhere online that the shine in it has something to do with the deadlights that are inside Pennywise, and it's all connected. It's all connected, and that ritual of chud that they learned to take out Pennywise in that movie was in the book taught to them by this god named Maruchan, who is a giant cosmic turtle that has 4 elephants on its back, that holds 4 pillars, which is where the Dark Tower takes place, that holds up the earth.
Of course.
And then when Nandor said that's what he thought the creation of the universe was, I lost my shit. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
He's drawing these horribly crude drawings on the wall of the hotel.
Yeah, in Sharpie. And so is Colin Robinson. You know why Colin Robinson's doing it? Because he knows it's going to piss off housekeeping.
His elephant that Colin Robinson draws is so bad.
So bad.
And then he draws it, and then he puts a circle and a cross.
A circle and an X. And it goes from like one part of the wall down to the next part of the wall.
Divot.
Yeah, and I 100% get that. Nandor needs to figure this out.
Right.
Colin Robinson's like, oh, this is gonna pay off in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, Nandor is having a crisis, an existential crisis right now. You know, and it's just
we're all just unimportant beings in an equally uncaring universe.
It's just so funny. It's so smart. So then, episode 5, and I mean,
we got to talk about Gale real quick because that's what really sends Nandor down this.
Yes,
because he got struck up again with a fling that keeps leading him on, breaking his heart. Will they, won't they? Shit. And then this time he's like, I need to have a companion for the rest of my life, so I'm gonna make her a vampire. And Guillermo's like, what the fuck, man?
What's going on here?
And then it turns out, she's over there on the wrong night. She didn't know what night it was. And then she leaves, and turns out she's a werewolf.
Yeah.
She done been a werewolf.
Yeah. And apparently, they've been having a fling for what, like 50 years or something like that?
Yeah, so she was like in her 20s.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's been like 30 or 40 years.
Yep.
So, and then you get all the pictures of them together, and it's just Nandor, and then this woman who keeps aging. Aging per picture.
Yep.
And against
she loves yogurt. Nandor knows. He always gets her mixed berry yogurt.
But for Guillermo, he gets him room temperature raw chicken.
Yes, when they put him in the cage.
They put him in the cage, and they just give him only raw chicken.
Just keep throwing it at him.
I made sure this one got up to room temperature for you. Oh, thanks.
Oh, thanks. I'm going to sift through his feces.
I will be sifting. I will continue to sift through his feces daily.
Thank you, Colin Robinson.
Yeah, like, you're doing us a great service.
Should he face the prod? I told you not to touch it. Again, watch the show. But
it's so good. Just every bit.
Every
bit.
second. And then, I think, did you already say she gets bit, becomes a vampire, werewolf vampire?
Oh, no, not yet.
Oh,
Because when they show up to confront the werewolves, which I was kind of bummed because the leader of the werewolves in season 1, that's played by a guy named Arj Barker, a stand-up comic, and he's been around for a while. But he worked with Jermaine Clement a lot on Flight of the Conchords.
Right.
So I thought that was cool that they included him, but he did not return for this episode.
Yes, a little disappointing.
But I love when they show up. You just hear all of a sudden, you just see these 3 werewolf people just take off down the street, and then the camera pans over, and they're running, chasing after a car. Then it zooms out to Colin Robinson's face. He goes, car. That makes sense. It's a car.
Oh my God, the subtleties, the nuances.
And then they're about to get into this whole fight because she was, getting up on this werewolf guy. And Guillermo had to go up and explain that he's his heart guard.
Yes.
That actually reminds me, guys. Did you guys take your heart guard? Worms are really a problem. And then Guillermo goes, settle this with game of dodgeball.
Yeah.
They play baseball in Twilight.
Okay, so they played baseball. Okay, yeah.
Because they play baseball in Twilight, literally 2 supermassive black holes.
Kickball in it?
Yeah, it's kickball in this, baseball in Twilight.
Gotcha.
But they did it in the exact same the way they shot it, and then the Muse supermassive black hole playing over it as straight 100%. They ripped that scene out of Twilight for that episode.
God. And that's the perfect scene to take.
And especially because it only goes 2 runs.
Yeah.
Because right then Nadja goes, you guys, I don't hate her. And kicks the ball right into Gale's head, takes her out.
They're talking about how Nadja hates Gale because she's a woman.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I don't hate her.
I just think she needs to stop toying with Nandor's heart.
And then she basically kills her.
Basically, yeah. And then Nandor, he goes over, bites her neck. I just love, he bites his arm and goes, ow. Oh, wait, he just... Ow, fuck.
I hate doing this.
And so, yeah, the then episode 5.
Well, the hideous werewolf vampire hybrid that Gale becomes.
Oh, yeah, when she turns into a bat. That's right.
And flies away.
Even more terrifying than Beanie Feldstein in season 1 when she tries to turn into a bat.
Down. But yeah, season 5 or episode 5, that's the one where they bring the other vampire hunter back, the kid, the black kid who got trapped in the house.
Yeah.
And now he is a vampire.
He got trapped in the house with that creepy vampire family.
Yeah, that was like from the 70s or 80s or something. Yeah. And then he comes back and he's got a hellhound, which is a golden retriever. And basically Guillermo helps him live. And now we're kind of getting into...
in that episode particularly, Nandor and Nadja cannot get along.
They cannot do it.
Especially about a throne. Like, it's all about status with them. They can't let one be better than the other.
Not a chance.
And so Guillermo tricks them into letting him sit on the throne like he's the head, and they're the ones making the real decisions.
Exactly.
And then this guy comes in and he's like, oh shit, I know this guy.
I gotta save him.
I can't remember what he did though, the kid, because he got turned into a vampire by that family. And then he was just, abusing it, like doing tricks or shit. I can't remember.
And then I just remembered Laszlo and Colin's arc during it, which is that the neighbor now that they just went to the now is selling basically My Pillows.
Oh yeah, basically My Pillow. Yeah.
And so Laszlo has to become a lawyer to get him out of selling all the pillows.
And he shows up with that fucking goofy, tiny white wig jammed on top of his head, goes into the courtroom. Wasn't he drunk?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's how they get the kid out of it, I remember, is like Guillermo, I think, talks him into representing the kid while he's drunk. Right, and then he comes in and Nadja's like, we need to let him get his first win. We got to let him have this.
And then they freed the guy. And the golden retriever.
And now it's part of the house. And then episode 6, one of my personal favorites.
Yeah.
Chasing after the sire, right?
Yeah.
The oldest vampire that's turned into this creature, this thing.
Yeah, this gargoyle-looking thing.
And the idea is that if,
Which is funny, to that episode.
Right, exactly, because then you meet some gargoyles that are just some
gossipy bitches. There's some gossipy bitches, because they're up there just eavesdropping all day, every day. Like, that is a point of view of gargoyles that I don't think anybody's ever taken. That is the best.
And that's why this show is the best, man, is because they do shit like that. I love it. And being a monster guy,
Well, I mean, the troll.
Yes, the troll. The I feel like there's so many. The next episode, the siren, right? Yeah. The Greek myth of the singing and the trap.
Benedict Wong being the warlock.
Yep. The ghosts, scamming warlock, course, the ghosts. Which Nadja's ex being the ghost that Laszlo keeps killing.
Yeah, Gregor.
But with that, they bring back, because the whole idea is like, if the vampire that made you a vampire dies, then you die. And the sire is the original vampire. So the idea is if the sire, the reason they got to get it back is because if the sire dies, then they all die, right? Yeah. And they're like, nah, it's, Laszlo's like, that's poppycock, and then, because we killed the Baron.
And the Baron turned you, and you turned me.
And then they find out that the Baron is very much alive.
Yeah, and that was the thing when this episode was coming around, that I was like, oh, good, because when I rewatched it this last time through, and they're like, oh, we got to give him his last sip when they're going to bury him, they dump it on his face, and his eyes open up, and then they just dumped him in there. And I'm like, oh, that's just funny, but then I didn't ever really think about, The Office is, sitcom. Right. This is serialized. So every episode connects, and plants are paid off much later.
Often.
And this was one of those plants. They uncover the top half of the baton.
Yep, exactly. And they just...
He couldn't be more cool about it.
He was so fine. He's like, I've been trying to claw my way to the top, but it seemed instead of up, I was going to the side. And he's just this half-body, crisp, vampire. He helps them find the sire. And then this just wonderful ending where the sire and the hellhound go and live in a little house. Airbnb, that's right. Yeah. And people come to the Airbnb and then they eat the people. Yeah.
I mean, genius.
We are always
that is basically their DoorDash, and they're getting paid for it too. So that's so great.
I love that episode. That was a fun one.
Yeah, the sire was so good.
It's like an ape gargoyle. Yeah, it's basically an ape gargoyle, a chimpanzee gargoyle.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I love it too. It's like the dog is just barking at a tree, and then it just blows fire out of it. Because when Guillermo pets it, he's like, it's just a dog.
Just a dog.
And that's what we think, too. It's like, they think hellhounds are dogs. And it's like, dogs can be hellhounds.
Yes, they can. They can do some damage.
Breathe some fire.
Oh, man. Yeah, that one. And then, the siren. And then also Nadja's doll runs away. You know, that was a classic episode 7.
That was a really fun one.
Yeah, that was like kind of get away from the more like anchored arcs of the season and just kind of have some fun. Like you always forget about that doll. The doll like throws in little jabs and stuff like that, but you kind of forget about her a lot.
Her and Nandor sword fighting.
Oh,
and then she disarms him and
he
she just
kicks his ass.
He just looks like she's pretty good. She's like, I'll kill you, Nandor! I'll fucking kill you!
And then her like bouncing bodies and then going into that giant inflatable rat and like running through New York.
That was so great too in that part because she's running away. She's like, Nadja yells after her about having a giant ass. And then she goes, like, not bigger than yours, darling. And you just got Nandor and Guillermo standing there, and Nandor's like, ooh. And Guillermo's like, shots fired. Like,
take your hand off my wife's firm, or my apple, but firm backside.
Get your hand off my wife's apple, but firm backside.
And of course, that one was great too in the long run because it was more leaning into this Colin Robinson Laszlo friendship where they steal a boat. I forget exactly why they stole the boat.
They stole a boat to go find an island that they believe that energy vampires originated from.
Right.
And then like right away, there's like this party on this boat. Laszlo jumps on the boat, bites some dude's neck, blood sprays everywhere, people evacuate, and then they just take the boat.
They take the boat, and then they get lured in by a siren, which turns out to it's a bird woman, but it's a chicken woman. Yeah. She's got big chicken legs.
Yeah. So was what he said about mythology turning them into like, hot mermaid type women. Is that a common misconception, and they are the bird people like that?
I've seen a lot of different there's bird women that are called harpies.
Oh, the harpies.
Harpies. I've seen sirens be like, seabirds with women's heads, mermaids, and then just women sitting on a shoreline.
Okay.
So it's a varying spectrum for sure. But they did a really good job with that. And Colin Robinson, of course, falls for the siren.
Yeah, but like truly
fell for her. Like she would sing and like lure them in, and then had just like the most annoying voice and personality.
Yeah.
But Colin Robinson was into it, and then that
I feel like because I looked her up on IMDb, that actress, she's got to be an up and comer improviser.
Yeah, big time.
Because I've never seen her in anything, and she
had a big part.
Rocked it.
Yeah, she killed it. And then that led to one of my favorite sequences of the season, which was the Best Buy sequence with Laszlo and Guillermo.
Dude.
They go to Best Buy.
Oh my God, that was so fucking funny.
They buy so much shit.
He will not be paying today. And he's like, oh, okay. Do you want to maybe apply to your extended? I will not be talked to any long warranties or extended coverage plans. He's like, oh, okay. Well, can we get your email at least? I will not be giving you my email. I was like, but you kind of need it. Oh, for the Geek Squad? Oh, yes.
For the Geek Squad. Then of course. And we do know from season 2, they have emails.
Yeah. It's like L. Cravensworth at, and then Guillermo has to give him the phone number.
Yep. And then we get this nice little 3-episode arc to end the season. First, episode 8 is Nandor. Now, again, he's got to get away from this lifestyle. He's losing it. He's going crazy. He's depressed. He can't find love. So he goes...
He is perfectly susceptible for this kind of thing.
To this wellness center where there is a woman running an exercise class who reveals, and everybody in the class reveals, that they are former vampires. Formerly fanged vampires. They rip out their fangs every single night in order to try to become human again. And Nandor gets sucked into this cult and becomes this, figure, he's like fucking the lady,
the wavy like 70s hair. Yeah, he's fucking the lady. And then I just love too the little montage of all the stuff those vampires do. Like they're just in the kitchen chopping up broccoli and then throwing it away.
What is she like? She eats food or like takes a drink of water.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, and then when he's not looking, she just she gets up and
she acts away. Like Wait, what are you doing with that? No. Walks like she has to go address somebody right now, then pukes in the trash can outside.
Oh, man.
And it's funny because Nandor never asked her about that moment later.
Not at once. Not at once. Because Nandor, he's naive. He's childish, you know? I forget what Laszlo and Nadja are doing in that one. Oh, is that Colin Robinson's birthday? Or is that
no? That's the next one.
Okay, yeah.
No, this one it was those two.
I can't find any pictures of them on IMDb in that episode, so I don't know. Of course, it was hilarious, but unfortunately, we can't remember. But think deeply, and I'll tell about episode 9, which, yes, on one hand is Colin Robinson's birthday, which we'll get to in a second, but also Nandor is, okay, now, because Guillermo goes, he pulls him out of the class, and he's devastated. He's like, I was happy there, I was doing things, and he's like, I think the only thing I can do is a long slumber, which is basically, everybody's like, freaking out about it because they're like, when you do a long slumber, centuries go by and you wake up and everybody you knew was gone and all this different stuff. So they let him do it, but they seem upset. But then meanwhile, Laszlo is obsessed with getting ready for Colin Robinson's birthday. He's have you signed his card? Everybody needs to sign his card. They bring in some, Vampire Council members. David Cross is one of them, as well as our Blade friend. I forget his name already again. But yeah, just so stupid, so funny. And basically, Laszlo reveals why he's so obsessed with Colin Robinson's birthday is that he found out while he was in the library with Colin Robinson that energy vampires die at 100 years old. And, Colin Robinson, it's his 100th birthday. That's why he wants to learn more, all this different stuff. So Laszlo's making it a real point to celebrate Colin Robinson's birthday, even in front of all these high Vampire Council members. They don't seem very interested in it. And then, of course, there's all these things to make the council think that Nandor is dead, that Nadja killed him so that they don't have any questions.
Yeah.
And then they play with his pee-pee for like 5 minutes.
That was so good. Thank you for that, Guillermo. That was nice.
That was nice. But then basically Colin Robinson starts to feel ill. His tummy's not doing well. He goes, he's
farting up a storm.
He's just farting all up in his room. Everybody's around him. Everybody knows what's coming and starting to get sad. And Nandor doesn't believe it because he's been sleeping this whole time. Right?
Yeah.
So he's
trying to sleep.
This whole time. So what does he do? Why does he push into his face? Why does he do that in the first place?
Oh, he was like trying to knock on his head, like, wake up! And he's got vampire strength.
Wakey.
Yeah, because that was the thing. It's just come to a head where it's like, nobody's respecting Nandor and what he wants. No. Which, I'm totally on his side for the decisions he's making, but it's like, I love Nandor, though. I don't want him to go. But they're so selfish. They don't care about him, and he's the one who's been the most devastated and doesn't have anybody to be with that whole time, other than Guillermo, who he does not see as a, viable companion.
Yep.
And so, yeah, he goes rushing in there, and he goes, no, he's not dead. Remember the time that he faked his death? I can't remember what it was for. But he acted like he faked his death.
I think it was the one where he becomes the boss, and he becomes so powerful that he dies or something, and he basically does it to trick them into saying that they actually like him and say nice words about him while he's in the grave.
Yeah. That's right. That's exactly
he does the drawing of them all together. He's a very shitty drawing by Colin Robinson.
Shitty drawing by Colin Robinson. Yeah. And so Nandor was like, Colin Robinson, wake up! And he knocks on his wakey, knocks on his head, and his hand just goes through his head. And I gasped.
Oh, big time. Oh, and Colin Robinson is at least my dad's favorite character, so he was shocked.
Yeah. That was, whoa.
Yeah, they really did it there.
And, how do you,
How do you do it? How do you get through this?
How do you deal with that?
Well, we just watched.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what a finale.
Yeah, what a finale. We watched it today, and I gotta say, it was quite the episode.
Right. Well, technically not today. We watched it on Friday. Today's Sunday, Halloween. Woo.
Yes. Just getting used to it, people. Just getting used to it. Especially after fucking wipe the hair out of my face. How do you long hairs do this?
It's a real pain in the ass. It really is. And I'm only new to the long hair club. I don't like it. That's why I wear headbands and hats all the goddamn time.
It's preposterous to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
penultimate episode. Wait, no, that's the second to last. The finale of the season. We basically come to a point where everybody is denying their grief over the loss of Colin Robinson. They're all getting
the
a big
only way
painting.
they ever have known how to process grief is by having a commission painting of who truly lives in the house now.
That's right.
And
So they got the sire back, they got the Baron, they got the Hellhound, they got Kristen Shaw, they got the whole crew together. But, things are amiss.
Yeah, you got Donald Logue painting it.
Donald Logue's painting it, talking about his many, his love
His
of painting.
stories of acting are so funny. Like, they're so pretentious, but not at the same time.
And when he finished, my favorite thing was when he finished the painting. He's like, "All right, guys, I gotta go. I gotta do a self-recording for a pilot for CBS."
Like, after shooting Blade, I just kind of fell in love with the lifestyle.
He's still a vampire, but he's still an actor.
Yes.
He's still doing it all. It's so funny.
It was a self-record for TC.
And he's doing paintings for this crew. You know what I mean? So then they all, tinker off, and basically the idea of this episode is everybody's moving on from the house. Like Nandor, he wants to go see the world. Guillermo's not about that. Nadja got a very big news from Taika Waititi over RuPaul's Drag Race, where she found out that she's being invited to be on the highest of high councils out in the UK. The only problem with that is that Laszlo will never go back to the UK.
Yes.
He will never, ever do it. So Guillermo uses this. He tries to double down. He tries to get it set up. But then once Nadja reveals the truth of what she's about to do, Laszlo couldn't be more about it. He's about to go be, big dick out in the UK. He's about to become all powerful, right? Meanwhile, Nandor, he's telling Guillermo to plan this thing for him.
Nandor's whole thing was like, well, they're gonna leave, and I don't want to be the one stuck here alone like a loser, so I'm gonna go travel first. And the Guillermo's like, I just don't want this to be like, how a party goes, where it's like one person starts leaving, and all of a sudden everybody's gone. And,
So he tells Guillermo to figure out the trip for him. Guillermo won't do it, and then it turns out Kristen Shaw. I mean, she sets up trips for all the Vampire Council people. She knows everything. She's got it down to a T. The trip is set.
Yeah, you put your ancestral soil in a Jansport backpack, and you can just sleep
Very
anywhere.
popular backpack.
It's very popular.
Jansport.
Children's backpack.
So they all begin to separate, and they go about their ways. Guillermo goes to help Nadja and Laszlo get set up. Before they left, Laszlo went down to the basement to he's the only one that hadn't paid his respects to Colin Robinson yet because it was his best friend. Exactly. So he was very upset about it. They go. Meanwhile, Nandor ends up saying, Guillermo, you can come along. He's like, let's do this thing.
After Guillermo tries to kill him.
Yep. Oh, that's right. They have a whole
Jack. I'm like,
sequence.
you were skating right over this, where it was like Guillermo's really laying into him, where he's just like, the world is a dangerous place out there. He goes, yeah, that's why you need a bodyguard. He's like, I'm not talking about for me. And, you just gotta move on. He goes, all I've wanted was to be a vampire. I can't remember what it was, but he basically lays it out that you're only alive because I let you. He's like, oh, you killed a few assassins, and what's that? He's like, oh, you're only alive because I let you. He goes, oh, yeah? Prove it.
And then they get into it.
Big old fight.
And then Nandor almost lays the final blow, and I love what stops him is he's like, your sword isn't polished. He's like, really? And
and then he kicks his legs out from under him, knocks him off, and then whips out that crucifix.
Yes, that's
right.
right.
Nandor throws the knife. He catches it, throws it right back at him, hits the painting. He goes, you almost hit John. Goes after Guillermo, pulls out the crucifix, and then he yields.
And he says, I
was worried you were getting too soft. I want you to come with me, and then we'll go to the ancient place of Alcalador, and I will turn you into a vampire.
Bada bing, bada boom.
And
meet you
this time, I think he means it.
I think he really does.
I think he really meant it.
He wants Guillermo to go.
Especially when Guillermo's like, I'm going to see Nadja and Laszlo off down at the dock. Can you take my luggage to the train station so I don't have to take it all the way down there and then all the way back? And he's just like, what, am I fucking working for you now? Never mind. Of course I'll take it. And that moment right there, I was like, he does mean it this time.
Big time. Big time. He's changed. Nandor's a new man.
Yeah.
A new vampire. But then they get down to the dock. Laszlo loads up Nadja. She can't wait to see him, all that different stuff. And as Guillermo's explaining the little snacks that he put into Laszlo's coffin for the trip,
Oreos and Pedialyte.
he shoves Guillermo into the coffin, slams it down, nails it shut. Boom, 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 boom. He says, "Take care of my wife for me." And then we cut to him. He's been writing a letter. He's explaining, I've always felt that I needed to be there for you to protect you, but you're fine. You got to do your thing, and you got Gizmo there for you to help take care of things.
He's a fine bodyguard.
But he has bigger things to do. Meanwhile, Nandor, upset, gets on the train. No Guillermo. He looks a little sad, He looks a little bummed, a little confused.
Guillermo!
We go back to the house. We go to where Laszlo had gone to pay respects to the smashed Colin Robinson, right? He goes, he lifts the sheet. We see his face still imploded upon itself.
Yeah, but now there's a big old chest burster explosion out of his belly.
With a trail of ooze. He follows it. He goes. He opens the door. And what do we have in that dark room, Sam?
Well, baby Colin Robinson.
Baby Colin Robinson, baby.
God damn it, Jack. I don't know. Seems like Baby Yoda.
Doesn't it?
A new competitor has entered the arena.
Did you see the post-credit scene?
Yeah, he just sits up screaming while Laszlo's trying to get the painting just right.
So we leave it for season 4. Nandor's on his own, going on a trip, wishing Guillermo was there with him. Guillermo's stuck going with Nadja to run the Vampiric High Council in London, and Laszlo and baby Colin Robinson are holding down the fort at home.
Yeah, what the dynamics this sets up. Mm-hmm. Is going to be such a huge impact next season, which makes me think that you're kind of right that this might be a type 4 season arc. Mm-hmm. I'd be happier if it was 5.
I'd be happy if it was 10.
Yeah. Honestly.
I want to see these characters as long as I possibly can. But if it's 4 really phenomenal seasons, I will take it.
And that's what I think is the best about it is that, it's like Breaking Bad, ending on your own terms. Because it's hard to keep a good thing going.
Place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's hard to keep a good thing going that well, especially if it's serialized and there's character development. Mm-hmm. You can keep a sitcom going for fucking ever, to the point that it's like Seinfeld, where we could go forever. We're getting the highest salary of all, but we're kind of done.
Yeah, we're just bored. Yeah.
So they had to wrap it up that way. But this, I think... What we're seeing with a show like this, with a show like The Good Place, with these short contained series like this, this is us getting basically a trilogy or a whole movie series with these characters that wraps up, and none of it is inorganic.
Yes.
It's not forced by the studio where it's just like, hey, Seth MacFarlane, think you got another Ted in you?
Right. And if you look at the hero's journey, there really are 4 quadrants, right? There's the ordinary world, there's the descent into the special world, there's the, kind of reward, seizing of the sword, return, and then there's kind of the who you are once you come back to the top of that. So remember who you are! Exactly. You want to talk about what we were saying at the beginning? Season 1, who are these characters, right? The ordinary world, get to know them. Season 2, why are these characters, right? Okay, we're really getting to know them, and we're seeing them pushed out of their comfort zones, right? Season 3, where are these characters going, right? They're all starting to redeem arcs that we learned even back in season 1. Mm-hmm. And then I would assume if season 4 is the end, it will be that culmination. Do Nandor and Guillermo get together? Will Nadja run all vampires? Mm-hmm. What's Laszlo and Colin Robinson's friendship like?
If you want to lay it out as far as wants, needs, fears, flaws, we're getting close to fulfilling those needs. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Them letting go of the wants and going into the needs. So, for example, I would say, actually, I said it earlier that Nadja is the most selfish person in the house. It's like, no, she's so wound up all the time because she has to keep doing twice as much work to get the same amount of respect. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's really her thing. And now she's got that point of power and all this respect. She's afraid to lose it now.
Right. Laszlo is always seeking.
He's the most selfish person.
He's the most selfish, and he always wants to fuck and suck and all that shit.
Hedonistic, always into just deviant shit.
And he loves Nadja for sure, but it's a different kind of relationship. Yeah. His relationship with Colin Robinson now is a genuine, selfless friendship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
which is interesting.
That means that energy vampires, if they do that phoenix reincarnating every 100 years, Colin Robinson has been spending the past however long bouncing around from whatever couple of parents will adopt him and then draining them, and then draining everybody else until 100 years is up, and then he dies again. So that's kind of the thing that Laszlo, I think, sees that, and he's like, well, one, I don't want him to be out there alone by himself, scared, having to be found and adopted, let alone also if he hadn't found that baby in the basement, that kid would have been just stuck in that house forever.
Yeah.
Not knowing how to feed or grow or any of that shit.
Do they ever mention how they meet Colin Robinson? Didn't they say he was just like in the house at one point?
I can't remember.
I feel like that's the explanation, which would make sense then, that maybe he has been stuck in that house for a long, long time.
Oh, it's his house.
Maybe.
I didn't think of that.
And again, I don't know for sure if that's the explanation they give for why he's there.
Let's see what Google has to say. How did they meet?
And his journey is obviously going to be figuring himself out, right? If he keeps dying every 100 years and he has to keep relearning about himself, this might be the phase of his life where he has a friend to help him. Like, he's not dealing with somebody that he has to drain right away now. He's dealing with someone that will legitimately care for him. And who knows, maybe he will become less of an energy vampire and a regular person because Laszlo teaches him how to, just be a regular.
Right.
He's not boring because he grew up with somebody who cared about him. I don't know, but it could be interesting.
It would be very interesting.
Yeah. So, we will see.
I don't know.
Nothing.
So, it's not really saying anything from that immediate search.
Yeah. I feel like they say it in the pilot. They're like, we don't know where he came from. He just was here.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So, if that's the case, maybe he's been trapped in that house.
Yeah. He's been growing up like, fuck, I guess 20 years or something passes after 1921 when he's born. And then all of a sudden this guy just wanders into their house. They've just been occupying this house for decades.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this guy walks in and is like, hi there, I'm Colin Robinson. Hello.
I'm going to go live in your basement now.
Stare at the wall.
You're
and then
so boring. Oh, man.
Oh, it's so good.
What a
Just
show.
so good. So good. So well written.
Tens.
Tens,
You guys
tens,
know.
tens,
You guys
tens,
know.
tens.
You don't come here for a raw critical review.
Yeah.
Okay. You come here to listen to why people love this shit. You know what I mean?
And we're one of those people.
We're two of those
Two
people.
of those people.
That's right.
Sometimes I forget that we're two separate
We're a regular old Laszlo and Colin Robinson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we are. So you're saying I'm the Colin Robinson of the two?
I didn't prescribe. I just you chose Colin Robinson.
He's bald, but also he's the one that does the annoying.
It's true. So we have a little bit of both in us. We have a little bit of both.
Yeah, and Jackie Daytona is Jackie D.
Daytona. Yes.
Jackie D.
See, that was the one thing with this costume that kind of bummed me out, is I didn't get to wear the Jackie Daytona shirt for this episode, which I really wanted to, but I was also like, I'd rather do a Halloween thing because I never get to wear this gorilla suit. So had to make a sacrifice.
Yeah.
I'll wear it on the next one.
You know what? Next Halloween, be Jackie Daytona.
Yes. Boom.
I'm Jackie Daytona, human bartender.
Human bartender. A massive fan of the Northridge High School volleyball team. It's just so stupid and yet so brilliant.
My favorite part about that whole episode is him talking like a casual bartender.
Yes.
With that British Victorian accent.
All he does is put in a toothpick.
Yeah, one toothpick, and he's just constantly washing glasses. Like, I don't think he even understands what he's doing.
I will have one human beer.
Yes, one human beer coming right up. Like he's just as weird as Mark Hamill in that scenario, so that's not an out of order thing for him.
No.
Honestly, he's probably wondering why more humans weren't asking for more human beers.
Oh man, what a show!
Oh yes,
What a
indeed. But just like with this season, how things wrapped up, like things are going over here on this episode of DMT.
I gotta go.
And that'll do it for us over here. Go like, rate, and subscribe. Follow DMT Studios on the YouTubes. That's where I want the attention going. We got stuff on there catching up. If you missed it.
Oh.
Freaking keep an eye out for table reads.
Ayo!
Real soon.
Coming very soon.
Hopefully this week that this episode airs. Just keep an eye out.
Pretty awesome. And if not,
Keep an eye
definitely
out.
the next
You
week.
know, if you're really just looking for any sort of update about when things are coming out, go to the DMT PCast Instagram, or you can email us at gmail.com. That same thing.
Yep.
SameyB_DMT is my Instagram. Silverback, Sasquatch 1162.
Never has been more fitting than today.
It never has been more fitting. On the Instagrams, and then go check out Best Worst Cantina. You know?
Of course. I mean, amazing things.
Always
cranking out.
amazing things. Great collabs going on over there. And,
Beautiful stuff.
you know, real quick, that was a line in this final episode that killed me. I had to rewind and laugh again. Was when Nandor blows up and he just gets off the stairs and he's just yelling at people. He goes, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." And he gets to the Baron, "You're cool, fuck you, I'm out of here." That is literally a scene from Clerks 2.
Oh, really?
Where someone is quitting the fast food restaurant. He's just like, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." And then there's an old woman, "You're cool, fuck you, I'm out." You know? That and fucking guy are the two parts of his personality that it's like he's assimilated, but he's assimilated too much, but not enough. So he has no identity.
He's all over the place with it.
So season 4, I'm so excited to see where we're going.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Good, very good, very good, very good. Otherwise, I'd say take it spooky, Mayor McChoosey.
Love you guys. I don't know.
I want to do that again.
Yeah, let's do it again. I didn't like mine either.
Take it spooky, Mayor McCookie.
Love you guys. Fucking guys.